The majority of marketers know already that it makes sense to use, when you're running native ads with traffic sources like Taboola and Outbrain, to use something in between your ad and your offer page, like a landing page. And this landing page can look like an advertorial, like a blog, or also like a VSL. And in this video, we will take a look when it makes sense to run a VSL and when it makes sense to run an advertorial. Hi everyone, my name is Marcel Sattler. I'm the founder of Purple Black, a native advertising only agency. What we're doing on a daily basis is we run profitable performance marketing campaigns for native advertising traffic sources like Taboola, Outbrain, Yahoo Gemini, and many, many more. And you might know from my other YouTube videos that we always recommend to use something like an advertorial in between your ad and your offer page. So you can call it landing page or however you prefer it, but it definitely makes sense to use something like this. When we are writing an advertorial, it looks also differently, and also the angles are a bit differently. So sometimes we're using, for example, something which is called an editorial. This looks more like a newspaper article, and it also, not just the look and feel is like a newspaper article, but also the type of writing, the type of copywriting is like a newspaper article. And then we sometimes have like a blog article, which is from the me perspective, from somebody out of the audience, and also the design and layout looks a bit like this. And some people are familiar with VSLs, with video sales letters. And let me explain you a thing from the very beginning. A landing page in between makes, in the majority of cases, always sense if you want to scale your native campaigns up. If you just run them on a very small intensity, on a very small budget, like for example a lead gen campaign, it might be also make sense to send the traffic from the ad directly to the lead gen form, to the offer page, however you want to name it. Again, this makes sense if you have a very straightforward offer, like, hey, here you can get a, I don't know, Disney Plus or Netflix voucher for minus 50%, and then just bring people to the offer page or to the form. This is so simple to understand, you don't need something in between. This works usually great if you don't have, or if you are not running with big budgets, or if your offer is super simple. Like this Netflix offer, it was super simple, it's a voucher, blah, blah, blah. So everybody get the point. But in a majority of cases, you use native advertising to reach out very top of funnel. So you have a completely cold audience, which you want to convert into ready to buy leads. And therefore you need something in between to heat the audience up. And how you do this, it's up to your creativity. You can use, as mentioned already, an editorial, blog article, VSL, whatever. The rule of thumb which we have here is, in almost every case, an editorial or advertorial makes sense and is useful to have. That's the first point here. Another thing is, and VSL is always more complex to create and to develop. So advertorial is basically just a component or a puzzle of multiple parts. You have on the one hand side the copywriting aspect, on the other hand side you have a web design, and basically that's it. And you can easily switch and playing around a bit with headlines and this kind of stuff, make a B, C, D split test, multivariate split test, whatever. This is super simple, and usually if you're familiar with ClickFunnels or Elementor or WordPress, or you have any other landing page builder, doesn't matter, then it's just simple drag and drop and voila, you're done. You can split test it and you can run different kind of landing pages here. Within VSL, this is way more complex because, first of all, you have to create the VSL, you have to create an outline, you need a good VSL. The majority of VSLs are also very long. They are like 20, 25, 30 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever. So they are usually longer and they are way more work, and way more expensive, of course. Even though you outsource everything on Fiverr or Upwork, it's still way more intense. And after you see maybe, okay, it's maybe not that optimized like you want, you have to re-engineer everything again, which is again a lot of work if you compare it like just make another headline on a written advertorial. So therefore, usually the easiest and most recommended way is always to use an advertorial. And here it doesn't matter if it looks like an editorial, like written from a newspaper page, like a third-party source, or if it's written like in an advertorial, in a blog style, which is from the me perspective. And this is usually somebody from the audience. So you can imagine it the best, like, let's say your product is for mummies which are living alone with 2 children, then this is like written from a perspective of a mom who is in the US, who's living in the US, who has 2 children and who has to struggle with work, with the children, with bringing them to football, volleyball, whatever. And so this is one hand side with the advertorials. This is usually the recommended way because, again, it's easy, or it's easier, even though you still have to take care about a lot of things, but a bit more about this later. Let's switch to the VSL. A VSL makes in a few very special products and niches sense, to be honest. And when it makes sense, always when you have a very, very competitive product, which is basic. Let me give you a sample. Let's say you're selling something like diet pills to lose weight. And you know, these pills you can get almost everywhere. You can get it more or less in a grocery store and everywhere online. So what's the goal here now is to play a lot with curiosity in the beginning. You play a lot with curiosity in the ads, like, I don't know, doctors found a new hundreds of years old fruit which helps you to lose hundreds of pounds, something like this, you know? And you play with curiosity and you don't say directly, this will help you to lose 5 pounds in 5 hours, but you say they found something like this and, you know, look this video, and you educate the people more or less. And in this VSL, you can put a lot of trust things inside. You can put things like doctors inside, and you can explain in 10, 15, 20 minutes very precisely why your product works and why your product is differently from all the products which the audience can find online or also offline. And this is way easier with an VSL because you can transport in these 15 or 20 minutes way more information than you can usually do with an advertorial, where people just scroll to the bottom of the page and look at the conclusion. Because also in VSL, you're usually not able to skip, and in the majority of cases, you also have to wait like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 80% of the video until you can click a button to go to the next page, like to the offer page. So you know almost every person who is clicking at the button watched your video for at least 80%, and they are highly qualified because they watched this video for this VSL for 10, 15 minutes, so they spend a lot of time on it. The negative aspects here is definitely that it's way more expensive and way more time consuming to create a VSL. It's harder to change afterwards. You also have to take care about some technical things like show the button after 80% of the video, something like this, but this is more trivial, to be honest. And the main thing which is also important to understand is that you have a break in the media. So therefore you have to take care about it very sensitively. So what I mean by that is, it's not like YouTube. You know, when you go on YouTube, you're watching videos. You usually have your headphones, or you're used with sound because you watch a video to entertain you or to learn something. And if you go on the next page and you see something like a VSL, you're already used to watch videos. On native ads, it's a bit differently because people are in reading mode, so they read something maybe on the iPad or on the computer. They are usually not used to watch now a video. So they're used with reading in silence, you know. Imagine you're in a library and you read something on your iPad and you see, okay, there is an article which might be interesting for you, and then you're coming to a VSL. So that means you have to use your sound to understand everything, and it's a different kind of media. You're in reading mode and not in watching mode. And that's kind of a break in between. Therefore, you have to make it very good, and you need a bit of experience, to be honest with you, for this to master it. Because if you just send people straight forward to a VSL, the chances are very high that your offer will suck or that your campaign will suck. So therefore, it's also important not just to make a good VSL, but also to understand how to bring people there. And you can use, of course, something like a pre-lander or so. There are different things. But again, a VSL always makes sense if it's a very competitive product and if people have to understand why your product is way better than everything else. Again, in 99.9 5% of the cases, it's fair enough just to create an advertorial, but there are a few percent, and these are like the 0.5% when it makes more sense to run an VSL. And this should give you a small overview, but again, it's always important, or it's always recommended to run an advertorial, and an advertorial again is based on two different things. It's the copy and it's the web design. The web design is trivial. You can hire someone if you don't know how to do it by yourself. You can hire someone from Fiverr, Upwork, whatever. And by the way, about this, we also have some templates which you can use. More about this later. And the other thing is the copywriting. The copywriting is more important on the one hand side, on the other hand side, it's way more difficult because copywriting for native ads or for advertorials is something completely different. So just because somebody has called himself or herself a copywriter, it doesn't mean that this person can write legit copy for advertorials. Therefore, if you want to hire somebody who should write your advertorials, my personal recommendation for you is to get in touch with somebody who has already experience with advertorials, because copywriting is not copywriting. And copywriting for advertorials is differently than copywriting for Facebook ads, for a blog article, for whatever. So if you really take the native ads game serious, go and reach out to somebody who has experience in copywriting for advertorials. So that's the main part of the video, but I promised you something else, a few more informations about templates and so. So, you know, we started these YouTube channels already months ago, and nowadays it's the biggest YouTube channel here about nothing but native. And we are very happy about it. And we want to give you something back to our community, because we see a lot of people who are reaching out to us and they're asking us if there is more resources, if they can learn native ads more, because there is no legit source out there. And yes, we are building currently something. We are not building an online course or so, but what we are building is a community about nothing but native ads. And it doesn't matter if you're interested in arbitrage, affiliate marketing, e-commerce, or lead gen. This community about nothing but native will help you. You will find inside videos how to do things, how you source products, how you create a campaign, how you optimize a campaign. We will bring you in touch with the relevant people of the traffic sources. We will also discuss the latest topics, the latest updates about native ads, and you can also access some valuable resources, like for example our 17 best converting advertorials, copywriting resources, web design resources, advertorial resources, and campaign resources, and way more. So what you will get is a bunch of value here. It's pure gold. We are currently working on it, and it will be a paid program here. It will be a paid membership. It will be cheap, but you have to pay. So if you have 0 pennies left, my recommendation is not to sign up for the waitlist, and by the way, not to start with native ads in general, because you need a bit of budget to run native ads. So if you just have like $20, $30 per day, do not start with native ads, then Facebook or so is a way better way. But back to the topic, so it will be a paid membership and there's a wait list for now. We will finish in the next couple of weeks, and if you want to be one of the first people who are able to join our exclusive community about nothing but native advertising to skyrocket your native advertising campaigns as soon as possible, then sign up now for the waitlist. Again, the sign up, of course, is free. It's without any obligations or so in the background. So just sign up. It's a very simple form, and you will find the link here on the bottom of this video, and of course also in the show notes. I hope you liked that video. If so, I would extremely appreciate if you give me a thumbs up, and of course when you subscribe to my channel to receive updates when I upload a new video here on YouTube about nothing but native. Have a good one. See you next time.